The situation unfolding now is the culmination of choices that were made too quickly, too carelessly, and without the depth of thought they deserved. These impulsive decisions opened the door for a third party, a presence that should never have had access to the relationship in the first place. Now this person is standing in the aftermath of their own making, overwhelmed and emotional, crying not only for what they have done but for what they realize they almost lost. Your partner carries a sense of urgency, almost as if they have reached a point where the truth can no longer remain buried, where honesty must replace avoidance, and where accountability finally outweighs fear. For a long time, this person was under the influence of a feminine energy, someone manipulative, controlling, and deeply invested in holding power over them. This influence did not appear suddenly, it grew slowly and subtly, embedding itself into the weak points of their life. It acted as a stronghold, quietly shaping their decisions, their perceptions, and even their reactions. This energy fed on their insecurities, pressing on emotional wounds they had not yet healed, and positioning itself as a source of comfort while quietly manipulating them into dependency. That influence became a steady presence, one that made them blind to the consequences of their choices and numb to the danger being invited into the relationship. Although acknowledging this manipulation may trigger frustration, sadness, or anger, it is still essential to recognize that your partner made the conscious decision to allow this influence into their life. They had chances, several, in fact, to push it away, to defend the stability of your connection, and to protect what was precious between you. But they did not take those opportunities. Instead, they allowed themselves to drift into an easier, less demanding dynamic, one that required no growth, no introspection, and no real effort. In their eyes, choosing someone who demanded nothing from them felt simpler than rising to meet the emotional depth and authenticity your relationship required. They believed that being with someone else would lighten the weight of their responsibilities, that it would spare them from the vulnerability that true love demands. But the illusion of ease was shattered when they finally realized that not everyone is like you, loving, patient, insightful, and willing to nurture a connection with depth and intention. They encountered sides of this third party that exposed the truth. Comfort without authenticity eventually becomes a trap, not a refuge. And so they reached a tipping point, a moment when the facade fell apart, and the cost of their choices became undeniable. Now they find themselves entangled in problems they never wanted to confront. These issues are not just emotional but extend into practical areas of their life, creating stress and tension that consume their energy. They are forced to face the repercussions of the dynamic they allowed into their world, realizing too late that what seemed like the easier path was actually the most destructive one. Though it may be too late for you to repair the damage created by their missteps, it is not too late for them to finally grow, take responsibility, and confront the internal struggles they once tried to avoid. Despite all the turmoil that has emerged from these hasty decisions, something profound has also begun to awaken within them, something spiritual, transformative, and impossible for them to ignore. Your presence in their life sparked this awakening, illuminating parts of themselves they had never fully seen before. It is as though they had been wandering through their life half asleep, reacting rather than choosing, surviving rather than fully living. But your connection stirred them, introducing them to a deeper understanding of love, purpose, and emotional truth. Suddenly, the world looks different to them, more vivid, more meaningful, more interconnected. They are now deeply aware of the impact you have had on them. In your presence, they learned what it means to be seen, supported, and challenged to grow. They felt a level of emotional resonance they had never experienced, and once they recognized it, they could not unsee it. This recognition has become the foundation of their transformation, and now their heart is aligned firmly with you. They have reached a place where they no longer want to deny their feelings or hide behind excuses. Their focus is shifting entirely toward building a future with you. Their desire to marry you is not simply romantic fantasy, it has become a driving force in their life. The distractions that once pulled them away, the insecurities that made them retreat, and the temptations that once clouded their judgment have all begun to lose their power. They now see clearly what matters, and that clarity has honed their priorities. You and the bond you share sit at the center of this clarity. They imagine a future anchored in commitment, stability, and mutual growth, one in which marriage becomes a symbol of their transformation and a testament to the power of your connection. In this stage of their journey, they embody the energy of the Emperor, strong, loyal, grounded, and dedicated to protecting what matters most. This version of them is the opposite of the uncertain, fearful person who once distanced themselves from you. Yet the past cannot be ignored. There were moments when they pulled away, shutting down or running from emotional intimacy because they did not know how to face their own vulnerabilities. There were moments when they unfairly blamed you for things that were actually rooted in their own insecurities, projecting their internal conflicts onto the relationship rather than confronting them with honesty. Now, with their growing awareness, they feel genuine remorse. They are beginning to understand that the emotional blocks in your connection were not caused by anything you did but by their own fears, fear of inadequacy, fear of abandonment, fear of repeating past mistakes, and fear of being truly known. This realization weighs heavily on them. They see now how their defensive behavior disrupted the natural flow of your relationship, creating confusion and emotional distance where there could have been closeness and understanding. They are beginning to grasp just how deeply their actions impacted you, and with that awareness comes a sincere desire to do better. What was once left unspoken between you, the hopes you both carried, the dreams that silently formed, the desires that lingered just beneath the surface, has started to push its way into the open. The truth that has been waiting so patiently is finally ready to reveal itself. This is not a time of forcing or rushing but of natural unfolding, as though the emotional pressure built up over time has finally reached the point where it must be released. As these truths come forward, the distance that once existed between you will begin to dissolve. There is a growing sense of anticipation, like standing on the edge of a moment that could shift everything. It is the feeling that everything that happened, all the pain, confusion, longing, and separation, was leading to a point of clarity and alignment. The emotional barriers that once seemed impenetrable are weakening, crumbling under the weight of honesty and the desire for genuine connection. Soon, there will be space for deeper openness, for conversations that once felt too vulnerable, and for a renewed connection built on truth rather than fear. This person is now standing at the crossroads of who they once were and who they are becoming. They recognize that the relationship they nearly jeopardized is the very relationship that brings out their highest potential. They understand that the love they share with you is not ordinary, it is transformative, healing, and spiritually significant. They are beginning to comprehend that your presence in their life is not merely coincidence but a catalyst for growth and awakening. As this transformation continues, they are becoming more intentional, more present, and more emotionally aware. They want to create a foundation that is secure and enduring, not dependent on external validation or temporary comfort. They want to show you, not just with words but with consistent actions, that they are ready to step into the role of a true partner, someone who loves with integrity, who communicates with honesty, and who stands firm even in difficult moments. The future they envision with you is not idealized fantasy, it is grounded in the desire for partnership, mutual respect, shared goals, and emotional intimacy. They imagine a life built on trust and connection, a partnership that grows stronger through both challenges and triumphs. They picture a home filled with peace rather than chaos, love rather than confusion, and commitment rather than fear. This is the path they are moving toward, the path of reconciliation, authenticity, and long-awaited emotional clarity. And as the truth continues to rise to the surface, the relationship that once felt scattered or uncertain now has the chance to realign, deepen, and flourish in ways it could not before. The time for emotional distance is ending, and a new chapter, one marked by openness, healing, and unwavering commitment, is approaching.